My name is Audrey Farrow, and I'm 29 years old. On my wedding day, not a single family member showed up. Not even my father, who promised to walk me down the aisle. My mom, my dad, my sister, they all left for my sister's baby shower. Same day. I held my own bouquet, walked myself past 80 guests, and married the love of my life with one person on my side of the church, my 78-year-old grandmother, sitting alone on an empty pew. The next morning, I posted one photo on my Instagram. Within an hour, 417 missed calls and texts. But before I get to that photo, let me take you back to the beginning. To the girl who spent her whole life being the daughter nobody needed to worry about. My sister Lydia is 4 years younger than me. In our house growing up, that gap might as well have been a canyon, with Lydia on the sunny side and me on the cliff. I don't mean she was cruel. Lydia was just the center. When she cried, my parents ran. When she smiled, the whole room exhaled. And when I did anything, honor roll, first job, scholarship applications, the response was always the same polite nod, like I'd told them the weather. Here's what I remember most. The night I graduated high school, top 10%, cord around my neck, the whole thing. My parents drove me to the ceremony. Dad sat in the third row. Mom was next to him. I walked across that stage, shook the principal's hand, and looked out into the audience. Their seats were empty. I found out later that Lydia had texted Mom halfway through. "I don't feel good. Can you come home?" She was 14. She had a headache. My parents left my graduation for a headache. A year later, I got hired at a veterinary clinic in Milledgeville, my first real job, the thing I'd wanted since I was 11. I called Mom to tell her. She said, "That's nice, honey." Then, without a breath, "Your sister just broke up with Tyler. She's a mess. I need to go." Click. That was the pattern. Not hatred, not yelling, just absence. I was the daughter who didn't need anything, so I got exactly that. Nothing. When I was 22, I wrote my mother a letter. 4 pages. I explained how it felt to always come second. I asked her, genuinely asked, if she understood what she was doing. She never mentioned that letter. Not once. By the time I was 25, I'd stopped expecting them to show up. I'd built my own life. Small apartment, steady paycheck, a cat named Oliver, who came from the clinic after a rough intake. I was doing fine. That was the problem. I was always fine. The night I realized Ethan was different, I'd invited my parents over for dinner. First time I'd ever hosted anything. I spent the whole afternoon cooking, roast chicken, garlic mashed potatoes, a salad I actually looked up a recipe for. Set the table for 4, lit a candle. Felt stupid about the candle. 1 hour before they were supposed to arrive, Mom called. "Honey, Lydia needs to talk. She's going through something with her boyfriend. We'll come another time." Another time. The 2 words I heard more than "I love you." Ethan showed up on time. He was new in my life then. 3 months of dating, still learning each other's edges. He walked in, saw the table set for 4, counted the 2 of us, and went quiet. We ate across from each other with 2 empty chairs between us. After a while, he set down his fork. "This happen a lot?" I poured more water into my glass. "Yeah." He didn't push. He just reached across the table and moved the extra place settings to the counter. Then he sat back down and said, "You deserve a full table, Audrey." That was the moment I knew I'd marry him. My grandmother, Grandma Ruth, my mom's mother, was the only person who never missed a call. Every birthday, every holiday, every small milestone. She once told me on the phone, "My daughter is making a terrible mistake with you." But Ruth was 76 then, and tired, and no one listened to her anymore. I should have listened harder. Ethan proposed on a Tuesday night in our kitchen. No audience, no photographer, just him, a ring he'd saved for 8 months to buy, and a question I answered before he finished asking. We set the date 4 months out. Small wedding, a little white church outside town, 80 guests, catered barbecue at the reception hall next door. I paid for everything myself, every deposit, every vendor, every detail. I didn't ask my parents for $1, but I asked my father for one thing. I drove out to my parents' house on a Sunday afternoon, sat across from him at the kitchen table and said, "Dad, I need you to walk me down the aisle." Gerald Farrow is a quiet man, 58 years old, hands permanently rough from decades of pipework. He doesn't talk about feelings. He talks about fittings and water pressure. But that afternoon, his eyes got red, and he reached across the table and took my hand. "I'll be there, sweetheart. I promise." I believed him. I needed to believe him. Before I left, I found my mother in the living room. "I need everyone there," I said. "This is my wedding." Mom, Donna, barely looked up from her phone. "Of course we'll be there. Don't be dramatic." That word, dramatic. The word she used whenever I had a feeling she didn't want to deal with. On the drive home, I replayed something she'd said the week before, when I first told her the date. Lydia was 5 months pregnant then. Mom's response wasn't congratulations. It was, "Oh, Lydia's due date is close. We'll have to work around that." Work around that. Like my wedding was a scheduling conflict. I told Ethan about it. He said I was reading too much into it. I wanted to believe that too. 3 days before my wedding, I heard it. I was at my parents' house picking up a box of old photos for the reception slideshow. Lydia was on the couch, phone on speaker, talking to a friend. "Yeah, the baby shower's Saturday. Mom went all out, pink streamers, the whole thing." Saturday. My wedding was Saturday. I stood in the hallway holding that box of photos, and the floor tilted. I called Mom from my car. "You're throwing Lydia a baby shower on Saturday?" "It's in the morning," she said, like she was explaining a bus schedule. "The wedding's in the afternoon. We'll be at both. Don't worry about it." "Why didn't you tell me?" "I didn't think it was a big deal." "Mom, you've known my date for 4 months. You could have picked any other day." "Lydia's friends can only make it Saturday." I gripped the steering wheel. "Then move it to Sunday." "Audrey, don't start. Everything will be fine." When I got home, I dropped the photo box on the kitchen counter and told Ethan. "She did this on purpose." He paused, measuring his words the way he always does. "You don't know that." "I do." That night, my maid of honor, Jess, called. Jess is a nurse, sharp, direct, the kind of friend who won't let you lie to yourself. She'd done some digging. "Audrey, that shower was planned 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks. Your mother had 4 months of open Saturdays." 2 weeks. She chose the date 14 days before my wedding. Not a coincidence. Not a scheduling problem. A choice. I hung up and stared at the ceiling for a long time. Then I picked up my phone and texted my father. "You promised." He didn't reply. My wedding day, 7 in the morning. I'm sitting in a salon chair at Jess's apartment while she pins my hair. My phone buzzes on the counter. "Dad." I almost don't answer. Almost. But he promised. So I pick up. "Honey, His voice is low, the voice he uses when Mom is in the next room. "Your mom says we need to be at Lydia's shower. She's not feeling well." "Dad, my wedding is in 5 hours. "I know, I tried. Your mother—" "You promised." Silence. 4 seconds. 5. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. Are you coming or not?" More silence. Then quietly, "I can't." I pull the phone away from my ear. I look at it. The call timer keeps counting. I press end. Jess is standing behind me, curling iron frozen in her hand. Her face is white. She heard everything. The apartment is small. The speaker was loud enough. "What do you need?" she asks. I look at my reflection. Half my hair is pinned up. The other half is hanging loose. My mascara isn't on yet. My dress is hanging on the bathroom door behind me, white and waiting. I have 2 choices. I can fall apart right now, in this chair, and let my mother win one more time. Or I can finish getting ready and walk into that church like the woman Ethan is waiting for. "Finish my hair." Jess nods. She doesn't say anything else. She just picks up the curling iron and keeps going. I don't call my father back. I don't text my mother. I don't send Lydia a message asking why. I sit in that chair, and I watch my reflection become a bride. And I do it in silence. The next 3 hours are the longest of my life. The church is 100 years old. White-clapboard, narrow steeple, wooden pews that creak when you sit. I chose it because it reminded me of something from a painting. Small, warm, honest. Inside, 80 people are waiting. Ethan's side is full. His parents, his brother, his aunts and uncles, co-workers from the electrical union. The left side, my side, is nearly empty. Jess is already at the altar holding her bridesmaid bouquet. 3 of my coworkers from the clinic sit together in the second row. Dr. Marsh gave them the afternoon off. And in the front pew, alone, sits Grandma Ruth, 78 years old, bad hip, a wooden cane hooked over the armrest. She drove 2 hours this morning from Savannah, by herself. The wedding coordinator, a woman named Paula, finds me behind the double doors. She glances at the empty pews, then back at me. Should we move some chairs? Fill in the gaps? No, leave them. The music starts. Pachelbel's canon. I hear it through the doors like it's coming from underwater. I look down at my bouquet. White peonies. I'm holding it with both hands because no one is holding my arm. The doors open. I step forward. 80 faces turn. I feel every single pair of eyes. I see the empty pews to my left, the white space where my parents should be sitting. I keep walking. Halfway down the aisle, I see Grandma Ruth push herself up from the pew. She grips her cane, stands fully upright, and her eyes are wet. But she's smiling. At the end of the aisle, Ethan is waiting. His jaw is tight. His eyes are red. The pastor clears his throat. Who gives this woman to be married? Silence. Then from the front pew, Grandma Ruth's voice, clear and steady. I do. The whole church exhales. Someone starts clapping. Then everyone does. We say our vows. I don't cry during mine. I've done enough not crying for one day. But Ethan's voice cracks twice during his, and that almost breaks me. The reception is at the barbecue hall next door. String lights, paper lanterns, a playlist Ethan and I built together over 3 months. Nothing fancy. But it's ours. Jess gives her toast first. She holds her glass steady, looks right at me and says, Audrey Farrow is the strongest person I know. She never asks for anything, and today she didn't have to. Everyone who matters is in this room. The room goes quiet, not awkward quiet, the kind of quiet that means people understand something without needing it spelled out. Then Grandma Ruth dances with me. A slow song. What a wonderful world. She can barely move her left hip, so we mostly just sway. She holds my hand the whole time. People take photos. Some of them are crying and they barely know her. Later, our photographer Mike pulls me aside. He's scrolling through his camera, and he stops on one image. It's me, standing at the edge of the aisle, bouquet in hand. Behind me, the pews on my side stretch back. Empty, every single one, except the front row, where Ruth sits small and alone. Afternoon light pours through the stained glass window, casting soft color across the white wood. This one's powerful, Mike says quietly. You might want to keep it. I stare at it for a long time. Then I nod and walk back to the dance floor. That night, after the last guests leave and Ethan and I are alone in his truck in the parking lot, he asks, Are you going to tell anyone? About your family? I lean my head against the window. I don't need to. They already know. Mike emails me the full gallery at midnight. I don't open it. During the reception, I catch pieces of conversations I'm not supposed to hear. Ethan's brother's wife, standing near the dessert table, leans toward Jess. Where's Audrey's family? Did something happen? Jess doesn't flinch. They had other plans. The woman blinks. Other plans? On her wedding day? Jess picks up a plate of peach cobbler. Yup. She walks away. Near the bar, 2 of Ethan's uncles are talking low. One of them shakes his head. The girl walked in alone, nobody on her arm. You see her side of the church? The other one drains his beer. I've been to a lot of weddings, never seen anything like that. My boss, Dr. Lena Marsh, a veterinarian who's been running the clinic for 20 years and doesn't suffer fools, finds me near the photo booth. She pulls me into a hug, tight, the way she hugs the dogs after surgery. I'm proud of you, she says into my ear, and I am furious for you. I nod into her shoulder. Later, the part that stays with me, Grandma Ruth pulls me behind the dessert table, gripping my elbow with her small, bony hand. I called your mother this morning, she says. I told her, if you miss Audrey's wedding, don't call me again. Do you know what Donna said? I shake my head. Stay out of it, Mother. So I got in my car at 6 in the morning and drove 2 hours to be here. Ruth straightens her back. I will not miss this day. Then she tells me something that hits harder. Your father wanted to come. I heard him say it, through the phone in the background. He said, I should be there. And your mother told him, if you go, you're choosing Audrey over this family. I hold Ruth's hand. I don't let go for a very long time. Danny, Ethan's best man, a guy built like a refrigerator with the personality of a golden retriever, gives his toast at the end of the night. He starts funny. A story about Ethan accidentally electrocuting himself on a job site and refusing to go to the hospital. The room laughs. Danny is good at this. Then he shifts. And to Audrey's family, he pauses, looks at the empty chairs at the family table, the ones with reserved signs no one collected. He takes a breath. To the people who are here, you are her family now. No one claps. The room goes completely still. Grandma Ruth, at her table, closes her eyes and nods once. After the toast, a woman I don't recognize approaches me. She's older, silver hair, kind face. Turns out she's Carol, a friend of Ethan's mother. Sweetheart, she says, taking both my hands, I don't know what happened with your parents, but I want you to know, you looked beautiful walking down that aisle. Thank you. She holds my gaze. Alone. The word hangs there. She means it as compassion, but it also lands as confirmation. 80 people watched me walk without my father. 80 people know my family wasn't there. The story is already loose in the world, carried in whispers and sidelong glances and half-finished sentences. I don't need to tell anyone. The empty pews told them. That night, back at home, Ethan sets his phone on the nightstand and says, Mike sent the full gallery. Want to look through them? I pull the comforter up to my chin. My feet ache. My heart aches more. Tomorrow. He turns off the light. I lie in the dark, staring at the ceiling, replaying Ruth's words. If you go, you're choosing Audrey over this family. My father chose. Okay, I need to pause here for a second. My dad looked into my eyes, held my hand and said, I promise. And then that morning, he called to cancel. Because my mother told him to go to my sister's baby shower. If your father promised to walk you down the aisle on your wedding day and didn't show up, what would you do? Drop it in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that red button now. Because what comes next hits even harder. Sunday morning. Ethan makes coffee while I sit cross-legged on the couch with my laptop. The email from Mike has 214 photos. I scroll slowly. The ceremony, the vows, the first dance, Ethan dipping me and almost dropping me, Jess laughing so hard her mascara smears, Ruth swaying on the dance floor holding my hand. Then Ethan sits beside me. He reaches over and stops my scrolling. That one. I look. It's the photo Mike pointed out at the reception. Me, standing near the head of the aisle, bouquet angled down in my right hand. Afternoon light flooding through the stained glass window, laying ribbons of amber and blue across the wood floor. My veil is catching the light. I'm not smiling, not yet. I'm looking forward, toward Ethan, like I'm about to step off a ledge and trust someone to catch me. And behind me, the pews. Row after row on my side, everyone empty. Except the very first, where Grandma Ruth sits small and upright, hands folded in her lap, cane hooked over the armrest. It's the most beautiful photo, Ethan says, and the most honest one. I stare at it for a full minute. Then I open Instagram. I upload the photo. In the caption, I type 5 words. The only family who showed up. No hashtag, no explanation, no tag. I post it because Ruth deserves to be seen. Because she drove 2 hours with a bad hip at 78 years old to sit in a pew alone. And because this photo, this single image, says everything I've never been able to put into words. I close the laptop and set it on the coffee table. Let's go to the farmer's market. Ethan grabs his keys. We leave the phone behind, both of them. We spend an hour walking through the market. Peaches, bread, a jar of local honey. Ethan buys me sunflowers. It's warm and slow, and for 60 minutes I forget about everything except the man beside me and the weight of the paper bag in my arms. We get back to the truck. I open the passenger door, set the bag on the floor, and reach for my phone in the center console. The screen is solid with notifications. 417. Calls, texts, Instagram comments, DMs. The number keeps climbing as I hold the phone. I scroll. 12 missed calls from Mom. 8 from Dad. 3 from Lydia. The rest, cousins, aunts, church friends, people I haven't spoken to in years. Jess has texted 14 times. The most recent one, in all caps. Your photo is everywhere. Your mom's friend Linda shared it on Facebook. Then someone from church reposted it. It hit the Milledgeville community page. A text from my Aunt Karen. Audrey, why wasn't your mother at your wedding? From mom's friend Linda. Donna says take the photo down. What happened? From a cousin I haven't seen since Thanksgiving 4 years ago. Just saw your wedding photo. That's heartbreaking. Are you okay? I keep scrolling. The messages blur together. Shock, outrage, confusion, demands. A few people congratulate me on the wedding. Most of them want to know the same thing. Why was that pew empty? Ethan is watching me from the driver's seat. He doesn't reach for his own phone. He just waits. You didn't do anything wrong, he says. I know. The phone buzzes again in my hand. The screen lights up with a name. Mom. I set the phone face down on my thigh. Ethan starts the truck. We pull out of the parking lot in silence, but I can feel it vibrating against my leg the whole drive home. I answer at the kitchen counter. Ethan is putting groceries away. He stops and leans against the refrigerator, arms folded, watching. Take that photo down. No hello. No, how was the wedding? No congratulations. Just take that photo down, now. Which photo? You know which one. You're embarrassing this family. I set my bag of peaches on the counter. I posted a photo of my wedding, Mom. You're not in it because you weren't there. I told you we'd come after the shower. Lydia wasn't feeling well. You know how she gets. You promised to be at my wedding. You chose a baby shower. I didn't choose anything. Your sister is 7 months pregnant and she was nauseous all morning. What was I supposed to do? Leave her? You were supposed to be at your daughter's wedding. Silence. Then Donna's voice shifts. Lower, shakier, the tone she uses when she's about to redirect the entire conversation onto herself. I can't believe my own daughter is doing this to me. After everything I've done for this family, all the years I held things together, and this is what I get? I close my eyes. I've heard this script before. Every confrontation, every time I push back, the same pivot. Her pain, her sacrifice, her version of the story. This isn't about you, Mom. The photo is about Grandma Ruth. She drove 2 hours. You couldn't drive 40 minutes. Donna's voice turns sharp. Your grandmother had no right. She had every right. She showed up. I hear Mom inhale, fast, like she's about to launch into something. I don't give her the chance. I have to go. I hang up. Ethan is still leaning against the refrigerator. He doesn't say anything. He just pulls me into a hug and holds on until I stop shaking. 2 hours later, my phone rings again. Dad. His voice is different from Mom's. No demands, no accusations. Just the flat, hollowed-out sound of a man who knows he did something wrong but has no idea how to say it. Audrey, I should have been there. Yeah, you should have. Your mother was worried about Lydia, the baby. Dad, Lydia is 7 months pregnant, not in labor. It was a baby shower, with cupcakes and balloon animals. He doesn't argue. That's the thing about my father. He never argues. He just absorbs everything, like a sponge that can't wring itself out. You looked me in the eye, I say. At the kitchen table. You held my hand and you promised. I remember. Then you know I don't have anything else to say. Another pause. I hear him swallow. Can I make it up to you? The question sits between us like a stone. I turn it over in my mind. Make it up, like he missed a school play, like he forgot to pick me up from soccer practice. How do you make up missing your daughter's wedding? He doesn't have an answer. I knew he wouldn't. I love you, Dad, but I can't keep pretending this is okay. I've been pretending my whole life and I'm done. Audrey, I mean it. I'm done. I press end. The screen goes dark. I set the phone on the counter and push it away from me like it's something hot. Ethan is in the doorway. He walks over, pulls out the chair next to me and sits down. He doesn't say anything. He puts his hand on my shoulder and leaves it there. Outside, a cardinal lands on the fence post. It sits for a minute, tilts its head, and flies away. I don't open Lydia's messages until Monday morning. 3 texts, sent Sunday afternoon. The first? I can't believe you're making this about you. I'm pregnant. Mom was worried about me, and now everyone's calling me asking what happened. You're stressing me out and it's bad for the baby. The second? You could have just come to the shower too. We could have all been together. I read that line 3 times. You could have just come to the shower too. My sister genuinely believes I should have skipped my own wedding to attend her baby shower. That my marriage, the vows, the church, the 80 guests, the dress I saved 4 months for, could have been rescheduled around pink streamers and a diaper cake. The third text, call Mom, she's upset. I hand the phone to Ethan. He reads all 3. His jaw tightens. He sets it down and looks at me. Don't respond. I don't. 20 minutes later, Jess calls. You need to see Lydia's Instagram story. I open it. Lydia, face swollen from crying, real or performed I can't tell, sitting in Mom's living room. The camera is close, like a confessional. Caption. All I wanted was a peaceful pregnancy. She doesn't mention my wedding. She doesn't mention the shower. She just cries and says she's been caught in the middle of family drama and asks people to send positive vibes for the baby. She's making herself the victim, Jess says. She always does. But here's the thing, Jess continues. Everyone already saw your photo first. Her story has 12 views. Your post has 1,400. The math isn't mathing for her. I almost laugh. Almost. I close Instagram and put my phone in a drawer. I have a shift at the clinic in an hour, and there are animals that actually need me. My sister, she actually texted me. You could have just come to the shower too. My wedding, the day I'd waited for my entire life. And my sister thinks I should have canceled it to go to her baby shower. I want to ask you, if you got that message from your own sister, would you reply? Or would you go silent like I did? Tell me in the comments. And stay, because my grandmother is about to say the most important thing in this whole story. Sunday evening. The house is quiet. Ethan is in the garage, and I'm sitting on the back porch with Oliver on my lap when the phone rings. Grandma Ruth. Her voice is slower than usual. Tired, I think, from the drive. But every word lands like she's been rehearsing it for 30 years. Don't take that photo down. Grandma, I'm serious, Audrey. I have been quiet for 30 years watching my daughter treat you like you don't matter. I should have spoken louder. I should have fought harder. I regret that more than you know. She pauses. I hear her breathing. That photo is the truth. And the truth doesn't owe anyone an apology. I press the phone against my ear. Oliver purrs against my chest. Do you know why I drove 2 hours? She asks. Because you love me. Because I wanted at least one person in this family to show you that you are worth showing up for, that you deserve someone in that pew, even if it's just a tired old woman with a bad hip. My throat closes, my eyes burn, and for the first time since the wedding, the first time since that 7 a.m. phone call from my father, I cry, not loud, not dramatic, just tears running down my face and into Oliver's fur while my grandmother breathes on the other end of the line and lets me. You're strong, Audrey, she says softly. But you don't have to be strong alone anymore. Then she tells me one more thing. I told Donna before the wedding, if she missed your day, I'd be done with her. She missed it anyway. I wipe my face with the back of my hand. Are you okay, Grandma? I'm fine, baby. I have been waiting a long time to do the right thing. Monday. Milledgeville is a town of 12,000 people. News travels at the speed of a church parking lot. Donna goes to her weekly service committee meeting at Grace Baptist. 3 women she's organized fundraisers with for 6 years are already seated when she walks in. One of them, Margaret, who runs the potluck calendar, looks up and says, Donna, I saw on Facebook your daughter got married this weekend. Beautiful photo. Were you there? Donna sits down. There were some family matters, private. Margaret nods, but the nod is slow, and she doesn't look away. Nobody else speaks. The meeting starts. Nobody mentions it again, but I hear about it from Jess, who heard it from a nurse at the hospital whose mother goes to Grace Baptist. That's how small towns work. The information doesn't explode. It seeps. Gerald goes to the hardware store Monday afternoon. Bill Porter, a longtime customer, is at the counter. Heard your girl got married, Gerald. Congrats. Were you there? Gerald picks up his PVC fittings, pays in cash, and walks out without answering. At the clinic, Dr. Marsh finds me in the supply room restocking syringes. She leans against the doorframe. Your photo. Everyone here saw it. You don't need to explain anything to anybody. I wasn't planning to. She nods. Good. That afternoon, Jess sends me a screenshot. Donna has posted on Facebook an old family photo, me at 16, Lydia at 12, all of us smiling at the lake. Caption: Family is everything. Through thick and thin, no likes, no comments, just Donna, performing the version of our family she wants people to believe in. I stare at the screenshot. 16-year-old me grins back, unaware of what's coming. I close the message and go back to work. Tuesday evening, Donna calls again. This time her voice is measured, controlled. She's had 2 days to rehearse. I want to sit down and talk. As a family. Your father and I want to explain what happened. There's nothing to explain, Mom. You chose not to come to my wedding. It wasn't like that. You scheduled a baby shower on my wedding day. You knew the date. You had 4 months of Saturdays. Lydia is 25 and pregnant, not dying. She has a boyfriend. She has friends. She had a room full of people at that shower. She didn't need you that day. I did. Donna goes quiet. I can hear her breathing, quick, shallow, the way she breathes when she's losing control of a conversation. What do you mean you did? I mean I'm not calling anymore, Mom. I'm not coming to Sunday dinner. I'm not pretending everything is fine while you and Dad choose Lydia over me, every single time, and then act surprised when I'm hurt. Audrey, when you're ready to acknowledge what you did, not explain it, not justify it, just acknowledge it, you can reach out. Until then, I need space. You're cutting off your own mother? I'm not cutting you off. I'm stepping back. There's a difference. 5 seconds of silence. I count them. Then Donna hangs up. I set the phone down. My hands are steady. My voice didn't crack once. I didn't raise it, didn't curse, didn't say anything I'd regret. For the first time in my life, I told my mother exactly where I stand, and I didn't apologize for it. Ethan walks in from the garage, wiping his hands on a rag. You all right? Yeah, I say, and I mean it. 2 weeks pass. I don't call home. They don't call me. The silence is strange. Not peaceful. Not yet. But not as heavy as I expected. It feels like setting down a suitcase I didn't realize I'd been carrying. On a Thursday, a postcard arrives. No return address, but I know the handwriting. Small, blocky letters, the kind a man who works with his hands produces when he's trying to be careful. Inside the envelope, along with the postcard, is a folded check for $200. The postcard is blank. No message. Just the money. I write a note on the back of the postcard. I didn't need money, Dad. I needed you. I put it in a fresh envelope and mail it back. A week later, Lydia has the baby. A boy, 7 pounds, healthy. I order a set of blue onesies and a stuffed elephant online and have them shipped to Mom's house. I don't call. I don't visit. Jess tells me what she hears through the grapevine. Donna has been removed from the event planning committee at Grace Baptist. Nobody said it was because of the photo. They just said they were rotating leadership. But 3 committee members liked my Instagram post, and one of them, Margaret, commented a single heart emoji under the picture of Ruth. Grandma Ruth calls me every Wednesday night at 7. We talk about nothing and everything. One week she tells me, "Your mother hasn't called me. I thought she would. She hasn't." Then quieter. I don't regret it. Audrey and Ethan settle in. We plant tomatoes in the backyard. We adopt a second cat from the clinic, a gray tabby named Pepper who hides under the dresser for 3 days before deciding she trusts us. The table is smaller now, but every chair is full. One evening, I'm making dinner when I hear Ethan come in through the back door. He's got a look on his face, careful like he's deciding whether to tell me something. Your dad was at the clinic today. I set down the spatula. What? Dr. Marsh mentioned it. He pulled into the parking lot around noon, sat in his truck for about 10 minutes. Then he left. I look out the kitchen window at the darkening yard. I imagine Gerald sitting in his truck, engine running, staring at the front door of the clinic, trying to find the courage to walk in. And failing. I don't go after him. Not yet. The photo is still on Instagram. I never took it down. Sometimes I look at it. Ruth, small and bright in the front pew, the light falling across all those empty seats. I keep it because it's beautiful, because it's true. I didn't post it for revenge. I posted it because my grandmother drove 2 hours on a bad hip to sit in a church by herself, and I wanted people to see her, that's all. But the truth has a way of traveling on its own. 417 calls. Not because I said anything cruel, because one photo showed exactly what happened, and people drew their own conclusions. I love my father. I love my mother. I even love my sister. But love doesn't mean endurance, and a boundary isn't a punishment. It's protection. Tonight, my dinner table has 2 chairs, Ethan and me. On Wednesdays, when Ruth visits, we add a third. The table is smaller than the one I grew up at, but every seat is taken by someone who chose to be there. If you're waiting for your family to love you the right way, stop waiting. Love yourself first. Leave the door open. But don't stand in the doorway. That's my story. 417 missed calls, 1 photo, and a lesson I wish I didn't have to learn. Sometimes, the people who love you most aren't the ones who share your blood. If this story hit close to home, drop a in the comments if you know what it feels like to sit next to an empty chair. Subscribe and hit that bell. I have more stories like this one. Check the description for another video I think you'll want to see.